Now I will go through the Chancenkarte Opportunity Card FAQs one by one. So what is the Chancenkarte? The Chancenkarte is a German residence permit that lets qualified people from non-EU countries enter Germany for up to 1 year to search for a job, even without having a job offer before arrival. It also allows limited work during that time, specifically trial work, and a side job up to 20 hours per week. Do I need a fixed job contract to apply? No, you do not need a German job contract to apply for the Chancenkarte. This is the whole point. But you do need to meet the qualification and language requirements, and you must prove you can support yourself financially. So how can I apply for the Chancenkarte? You can apply in 2 main ways. So if you're outside Germany, you apply at the German embassy or consulate responsible for your place of residence. If you're already in Germany, you can apply at the local Ausländerbehörde, but usually only if you already have a legal status in Germany that allows you to apply. And when can I apply? So the Chancenkarte has been available since June 2024. So applications are possible anytime through embassies and through local immigration offices in Germany, depending on your situation. So how does the application process work? So typically you fill in the application, you provide your passport, and you provide documents proving your qualification, your language skills, your work experience if you use it for points, and your financial proof. Then the authority checks whether you meet the requirements, or whether you reach at least 6 points if you apply through the point system. And then the processing time can really vary a lot. And what documents should I prepare in advance? So at least expect that you need your passport, your diploma or vocational training documents, proof that your qualification is recognized under the rules of your home country, proof of work experience if relevant, language certificates, and financial proof like a blocked account confirmation or another accepted form. If you claim a previous stay in Germany, then you need to prepare documents, so like for example rental contracts, work contracts, salary payments, or official registration records. So which language tests can I use? So for German, many people use Goethe certificates or other recognized CEFR-based exams. For English, common exams include TOEFL, Cambridge certificates, Language Cert, and similar. The key here is that your certificate must match the required level and needs to be accepted by the authority which is processing your case. But what language level do I concretely need? So the minimum baseline is German A1 or English B2. So if you want points, then higher German levels can give points. So for example, German A2 can add 1 point, B1 can add 2, and B2 can add 3. English at C1 can add 1 additional point. And what are the criteria in the point system? So the typical categories are language skills, work experience, age, and Germany connections. So that means previous long stays in Germany. So there are also points for certain special cases like shortage occupations, and in some descriptions, applying together with a spouse. How can I prove a previous stay in Germany? You need at least 6 months of previous stay and you must prove it. So proof can be rental contracts, work contracts, pay slips, registration documents or similar official evidence. And tourist stays do not count. Then do tourist trips count as previous stay? No. Short tourist visits, including Schengen stays like 90 days within 80 days, do not count as the 6-month previous stay for the German point. How long can I stay in Germany with the Chancenkarte? So the standard duration is 1 year. Can I extend the Chancenkarte? So an extension can be possible under strict conditions, sometimes up to 2 more years. But this is not automatic and it depends very much on your case and the local authority. So concretely, many people focus on finding a job and then they switch to a different residence title. So what if I do not find a job in 1 year? When the Chancenkarte automatically ends, you are expected to leave Germany if it expires, unless you switch to another residence title that you qualify for. So there's no automatic right to stay if you don't meet a new legal basis. And can I work while I'm on the Chancenkarte? Yes, but with limits. So you can do trial work up to 2 weeks per trial job, and you can do a side job up to 20 hours per week. The idea is to support job search, not to replace a normal work permit for full-time employment. Can I do full-time work on the Chancenkarte? So the Chancenkarte itself is not meant as a full-time work permit. The normal approach is you search, you do interviews and trial work, you may do a part-time side job up to 20 hours, and once you find a qualified full-time position, you switch to a residence title that allows full-time work. And what are the rules for trial work? So trial work is usually described as up to 2 weeks per employer, and it's described as possible multiple times. So the trial work should be connected to qualified employment or at least be meaningful for your professional path, because the whole purpose is to move toward a qualified job and a long-term title. Can I be self-employed with the Chancenkarte? So the Chancenkarte is mainly focused on job searching for employment. Self-employment is usually its own residence category in Germany. So if you want to be self-employed, you often need a different permit. You should not assume that the Chancenkarte automatically allows freelancing or running a business. So always check your exact conditions on your residence permit and with the authority. Can I study in Germany with the Chancenkarte? The Chancenkarte is designed for job search, so not for starting a study program. Studying usually requires a student residence permit. If you want to study, you normally need admission from a university and you apply for the student pathway. Can I work in other EU countries with the Chancenkarte? No. The Chancenkarte is a German residence permit. It does not give you the right to work in other EU countries. For other countries, you need their permits. Can I bring my family with me? In general, the Chancenkarte itself does not automatically give a right to family reunification. Family reunification rules usually depend on the residence title you switch to later. So if spouses apply together, then there can be special points, but family reunification is usually not a guaranteed part of the Chancenkarte. So most people plan family reunification after they switch to a longer-term residence title based on a job. How do I switch from the Chancenkarte to a long-term residence permit? Once you find a qualified job and get a proper job contract, you apply at the local Ausländerbehörde to switch to a residence title that fits your job and qualification. This can be a skilled worker permit, an EU blue card if you meet the salary and education requirements, or another category. So the key is that the Chancenkarte is the entry bridge and the job-based title is the long-term track. So what is a qualified job? In simple terms, a qualified job is a job that matches your professional training or academic background at a skilled level. For many residence permits, the authorities check whether the job and your qualification match. Is the Chancenkarte comparable to the US Green Card? So not really. The US Green Card is a long-term residence status and can lead to citizenship after some years, depending on your way. The Chancenkarte is a temporary job search permit for 1 year. It can lead to long-term residence only if you switch to another title later. Is the number of Chancenkarte permits limited per year? So there's no fixed annual limit, but rules can change if demand becomes extremely high. So the practical reality is that capacity at embassies and immigration offices already are at limitation. So processing resources are limited. And how long does it take to get the Chancenkarte? Yeah, it can take weeks or months. So it really depends from where you apply. So which embassy, which country, which local authority. So unfortunately, digital processes are not everywhere available the same. And some authorities also interpret rules differently. So there's no single guaranteed processing time. How much money do I need to show? So a common reference is the blocked account amount. So one figure mentioned since January 2025 is 3,092 euros per year per person for a blocked account. But the accepted proof can vary. So some applicants use savings, some use a blocked account, and some use a part-time job contract that proves stable income, if the authority accepts it. So always verify what your embassy or immigration office requires. Do I need German recognition of my diploma before applying? For the Chancenkarte, you do not necessarily need full recognition in Germany before arrival, especially if you apply through the points system route with the qualification recognized under home country rules. But for regulated professions, you will often need German recognition or permission to practice before you can work in that field. And also, if you want to switch to certain long-term titles, recognition can become necessary. What if I do not have full documents to prove my training? Some systems allow a qualification analysis, so meaning you prove your skills through practical assessment, work samples, or professional interviews. In Germany, the details and requirements can differ by profession and authority. Often it requires at least some German language ability because the assessment may be in German. Can IT specialists apply without a formal degree? In Germany, IT sometimes has special rules in certain ways, so especially if you have a solid professional experience and a job offer. So for the Chancenkarte, the general description focuses on 2-year vocational training or university degree, but IT can be treated differently in other residence titles. So if you are in IT and you do not have a formal qualification, you should check carefully which way is the best for you. So in case you have any further questions about the German Chancenkarte, the opportunity card, feel free to drop a comment or send me a message on my Instagram channel.